Mr. Speaker, my amendment is designed to protect life and the livelihood of those who defend it. Since 1973, approximately 50 million children have been aborted in the United States. This is a tragedy. According to a CNN poll last month, more than 60% of Americans oppose taxpayer funding for abortion. This number includes many of my constituents and is consistent with my strong pro-life convictions. I'm offering my amendment today to ensure that their hard-earned money will not be used to pay for elective abortions or given to organizations that discriminate against pro-life health care providers. Earlier this month, the House passed H.R. 3, the No Taxpayer Funding for Abortion Act, which codifies many long-standing pro-life provisions and ensures that taxpayer money is not being used to perform elective abortions. H.R. 3 is now awaiting consideration in the Senate, but I will not cease to fight to protect the unborn children in America at every turn. This amendment ensures that the grants being provided to teaching health centers are not being used to perform elective abortions, makes it crystal clear that taxpayer money is not being used to train health care providers to perform abortion procedures. Mr. Chair, when the liberal Democrats rammed through their government takeover of health care in an unprecedented fashion, they refused to include longstanding pro-life provisions. With this bill, House Republicans are seeking to restore a grant program for residency programs to the regular appropriations process, and my amendment explicitly and permanently ensures that should the Appropriations Committee fund this program, taxpayer money will not be used to pay for elective abortions or train abortion providers. In addition to the need for a permanent prohibition of taxpayer funding for elective abortions, it is also important that scarce resources are allocated to the most worthy applicants. An applicant that demands that individuals and institutions provide or refer for abortions is simply not the kind of applicant that should be funded under this program. Numerous doctors, nurses, and other health care providers refuse to perform or participate in abortions because they believe it is wrong to kill a child. Congress should ensure that these individuals are not discriminated against because of their beliefs. Any form of discrimination is abhorrent, and individuals should not be forced to act against their convictions. This amendment is similar to previous efforts to protect pro-life health care providers and is consistent with these efforts. To be eligible for funding under this grant program, centers have to agree that they will not discriminate against pro-life health care providers. My colleagues across the aisle may argue that we already have the Hyde Amendment that prohibits taxpayer funding for elective abortion for programs that are included in the Labor, Health, and Human Services and Education Appropriations legislation. However, this amendment must be included every year. My amendment ends the uncertainty for this program by providing a permanent prohibition on taxpayer-funded elective abortions and protects pro-life health care providers. Until we have a permanent prohibition on taxpayer funding of elective abortion and protections for health care providers who cherish life, I will continue to offer and support efforts to protect taxpayers, families, and children from the scourge of abortion. The unborn are the most innocent and vulnerable members of our society, and their right to life must be protected. Therefore, I urge my colleagues to vote in favor of this amendment and yield back the balance of my time.